The New York Knicks defeated the San Antonio Spurs 124 to 113 to win their first NBA Cup. I think it's called like the Emirates Cup. So they won the Emirates Cup, and congratulations to them. I'm a little bit salty. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a Spurs fan, so obviously I wanted the Spurs to win this game. I wanted a cup championship. Granted, it is meaningless in the scheme of things, but I still wanted to win this. Thought it would be nice for the Spurs to get this, especially with this young team, since they don't really have much experience outside of Harrison Barnes and De'Aaron Fox. So I thought it would be a great confidence booster, but it didn't work out. The other thing that really sucks is that my younger brother is a hardcore Knicks fan, and I watched the game with him, and he got to troll me and rub it in. And that really sucked. My only comeback to him was, well, now I know how you felt in 1999. Granted, I only feel 1/1000 of how you felt back then when the Spurs defeated the Knicks. So we go way back, all the way back to the 90s when it comes to this rivalry. Granted, it's not been much of a rivalry, but you know what I'm saying. So, yeah, he got to rub it in, and I had to take it, which really sucks. But this game was a pretty competitive game. I would say both teams really brought it. The Knicks played this game like it was a playoff game. One thing I will say about the Knicks, they are a very resilient team. That showed during the playoffs last year, especially in games against Detroit and the Celtics, in which they won in the fourth quarters, some of these games, especially in the clutch in the final 2-3 minutes by making the right plays, making gutsy plays, getting stops and whatnot. They're a very tough team to beat. They have a very strong mindset, kind of like a never die attitude, and they're like a bunch of cockroaches. Like it's really hard to take them out. They just don't quit. They're very resilient, and I feel they taught Spurs. I feel they taught the Spurs a lesson tonight when it comes to never giving up and always playing with intensity, even when you're down, and how you can never give up on effort. You have to bring it on every possession, every play. I think the Spurs did let up in this game and got too comfortable when they had a double-digit lead in the third quarter. But this game started off with both teams trading blows, going back and forth. Both teams would have leads, and suddenly the other team would come back. And it was like that for a period of time where I felt like it was just like a game of runs. Spurs would get hot, they would make their runs. The Knicks would get hot, and they would make their runs. And it was just like they would just trade baskets or a series of runs. And no team really could get a strong defensive footing on either team. One thing I thought at first was the Spurs perimeter was doing a good job of harassing Brunson, that Castle, Vassell, De'Aaron Fox, and even Harper were harassing him throughout this game. And I thought it slowed down the Knicks' attack for a brief period of time. You can see by how many turnovers they forced him to commit, which was like 4 turnovers. He didn't shoot well for the game. He shot 11 for 27. So I felt their overall defense was very good on him. Granted, he made some key plays in the game to keep the Knicks in it, but I'm just going to calculate his percentage. Just want to see how badly Brunson shot. Yeah, he shot 40% overall from the field. So I liked what I saw with them harassing Brunson. I thought they did a great job in that department. Not so well when it came to defending the supporting cast. OG, he was hitting those shots, especially threes. He was getting open shots. Cat was solid, but I think OG really was the guy shooting lights out in this game. The rest of them didn't shoot that well. Hart had a good game, 5 of 7, but those were usually easy buckets. But man, OG really hit those shots. To me, the turning point was really the fourth quarter of the game, or I would say late in the third quarter when Cat went out of the game with an injury. It wasn't a serious injury. It was like a calf sprain. Granted, I don't think it was serious because he came back later on, but when he went out, that's when I think the Knicks turned the corner, because I remember at one point in time the Spurs were up like 11 in the third quarter. Cat exits the game. They put in Mitch Robinson, and that's when they got jump started. Mitchell Robinson played like Dennis Rodman out there, getting so many rebounds for the Knicks. Granted, he's always been a good rebounder, but he had like 10 offensive rebounds in this game for a total of 15 rebounds. And I felt his offensive rebounds were crucial late in the third quarter and in the fourth quarter, because he was getting so many second and third chances for the Knicks, and they would convert eventually. I think OG hit a few threes off of his offensive rebounds. That's how big he was. And it just made a huge difference for them. Like, I really think he should have been the MVP of the game, because he was very underrated. Without his hustle, without his effort, I don't think the Knicks win this game. They needed his rebounding, and it just paid off. And also, I felt the Knicks in that fourth quarter, they just wanted it more. They were diving for loose balls. I think Mitchell Robinson's effort was contagious for the rest of the team. They were scrambling, they were hustling, they were making these hustle plays. Even guys like Kolek, who doesn't really play that much, stepped up in that situation. He shot really well in this game, 5 of 9 from the field. He had 14 points, 2 of 5 from 3. And he made some underrated defensive plays. Like, he drew some charges. He stopped a fast break that would have gotten Victor an easy dunk by standing in his way, so Victor could not run down the court easily without getting an offensive foul. He did these little things that helped them. So it was just really about hustle. Like, I saw the Knicks diving to the ground for loose balls and everything, and they just wanted this game more. But I felt that was really jump-started by Mitchell Robinson when he entered the game late in the third quarter and played most of the fourth. Cat would come back towards the end of the game with a few minutes left, but I think he had done all the work to get the Knicks in the game. And by the time Cat was there, they had a lead, and they were pretty much secure. I just didn't see them losing the game once Cat entered, even though they were only up by like 7 or 8. I didn't think the Spurs were going to come back, because I feel like when a team out rebounds you, it's an effort thing, it's a hustle thing, and if you don't match it, you're going to lose. It always happens in NBA games when a team is getting that many offensive rebounds. It's just a sign that they want it more. Now, I'll say Victor was not so good in this game. He was mediocre by his standards. He had only 18 points on 7 of 17 shooting. For a regular player, that would be a good game, but for him, we just expect so much more. He shot only like 41% from the field. He has to do better. 2 of 6 from 3, 6 rebounds only, 2 block shots, 1 steal. So I felt he could have done better, especially in that situation when Mitch was getting all these rebounds. He was on the court. Like, I need to see more effort in these situations. He has to take some responsibility for Mitch getting all those rebounds, that he's quick enough that he should have been able to secure some of them. Mitch out-hustled him. So that's kind of like a learning lesson he's going to have to learn. And he just really couldn't come through in the final few minutes of that game, or even the fourth quarter, I would say. But mainly like the final few minutes, he just had no offense, no way to get an easy bucket or a go-to move. That's something I think Victor has to continue to work on. He has to find ways to establish himself in these situations. If the Spurs are going to be a championship team down the line. So that's one thing I'll say. Like, he just didn't step up in the final few minutes of this game. He was nowhere to be found. And to be fair, that was pretty much the whole entire team. They fell apart in the final few minutes. They couldn't withstand the Knicks' intensity. The Knicks had playoff intensity, and the Spurs melted in the final few minutes of the game. There's no way around that. But the good thing about this game, it's not a playoff game, and it's a good learning experience for the Spurs, what to expect in these types of situations and how they need to be mentally prepared for it. And just like, you have to have effort. You can't become lackadaisical when you have the lead and assume it's going to be an easy win. I think they did that in the third quarter when they went up 11 against the Knicks. So that's one thing I would point out. As for the Knicks, like I said, I feel I felt Mitchell Robinson should have been MVP of this game. They don't win it without his effort. Or you could say OG could have made an argument for it. Grant, I don't hate Brunson. I think he's a really good player, but I don't think he had a great night. And I just felt Mitchell Robinson and OG were the two guys that spearheaded the run to win this game. But I don't have anything else to say.